But Acho, who has more to prove, Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes?
I'm going with Aaron Rodgers on this one for one obvious reason. First, 3 years, $151 million. You're talking $50 million a year. We have not seen money like that. Aaron Rodgers, that's first and foremost. But really, G, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this because for the first time in Aaron Rodgers' career, he doesn't have help. Like, remember, Aaron Rodgers, when he becomes a starter, he inherits a Greg Jennings, a Donald Driver, if we're being honest, a Jermichael Finley and a Jordy Nelson that are drafted that same year. He inherits, and Greg, I'm sure I'm missing one or two other names. Please correct me, James Jones. So he inherits a plethora of talent. Then as GJ and James Jones and all those move on, you still got Jordy. You still got Randall Cobb. Then as they move on, you still have Aaron Jones, Davante Adams. Aaron Rodgers has always had two hitters with him at all times at minimum, anywhere from 2 to 4. But now, Aaron Rodgers really only got Aaron Jones. Like, who's his leading receiver going into the season? Allen Lazard, who's truly a possession receiver. So there's more to prove on Aaron Rodgers because he has less help, and thus he legitimately has more that he can prove for the first time in his career.
I don't disagree with your points. I still believe that Patrick Mahomes, however, has more to prove. And this is why I believe that to be true. When you look at Aaron Rodgers, I don't think people give his head coach, Matt LaFleur, enough credit. He has kind of leveled out the playing field, if you will, when it comes to what Aaron Rodgers needs around him. He didn't have a running game before. Now they run the ball. They're one of the most balanced teams in all of football. And so when you have that, you can now insert guys and play with your system, albeit he's a phenomenal player, one of the best we've ever seen do it, in my opinion. But when you jump over and look at Patrick Mahomes, we've never seen what it looks like for him to go without Tyreek Hill for an extensive period of time. We don't know what that looks like. And even before we even talk about players, I'm not going to even talk about players anymore. Let's look at what he has to go up against in his own division. If we look at this list and we dissect this list, 7 of the 10 quarterbacks, including Patrick Mahomes, are in the AFC. 3 of those 7 AFC quarterbacks are in his division. And we could argue that Derek Carr could be on the list if we were to bump. I'm not bumping Dak Prescott off. I'm just saying if there was one that we decided to interchange, it would be Dak Prescott. We could argue that for Derek Carr. So when you look at what he has to go up against, he has more to prove because what he's going up against is coming after him. And the road to get to where we can see these guys play against each other in the Super Bowl, it's much more challenging and difficult when we look at the landscape that he has to kind of till. Now, Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, we've seen him in action for quite a handful of games, a good sample size without Davante Adams. And Davante Adams is the best receiver in the game. He is going to drastically miss Davante Adams. We, however, have seen what Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers coupled can do when they don't have Davante Adams and what they can lean on. Without Tyreek Hill, bailing Patrick Mahomes out, and I say bailing him out because Patrick Mahomes, phenomenal talent, obviously skill set. When he needs a play and his back is up against the wall, what does he do? He scrambles. He does what he does best. He gets out of the pocket. He looks down the field and he finds this cheetah running somehow wide open. That may no longer be the case. And I understand they have some guys to kind of fill that role, but they're not Tyreek Hill. I love MVS. I love even Juju Smith-Schuster. But collectively, they are not Tyreek Hill. And so when you see that element being gone and missing, I'm interested to see how it looks from that perspective of methodically understanding I got to be able to sustain drives. It's not going to always be big play, we're done, with no more Tyreek Hill being involved.
Yeah, for me, this one was really simple. Who has more to prove? Obviously, Patrick Mahomes. You study long, you study wrong on this one. Patrick Mahomes is coming off the worst season of his career. Let's just be real about that. Let's just start there. Now, coming off of that worst season of your career, where the statistics supported as well. Passer rating 11 points down from your career average. Let's talk about the worst stretch of games we saw from Patrick Mahomes when we really were scratching our heads collectively like, what is going on with Patrick Mahomes? Y'all remember week 5 through week 13, 8-game stretch? Patrick Mahomes is ranked 26 in completion percentage, 25th yards per attempt, touchdown interception ratio 19th, passer rating 25th. Now, obviously, he recovered, but then that takes me to my greater point because I used to love going to the grocery store and not for the food. I used to love seeing the coloring books on the side. And right next to the coloring books, they had this other book that you used to just open up, and it was all black and white, and you could connect the dots. And I used to love to see that. When you connected the dots, you could see the picture and the image, and it would just come to life. Here we go. I hate to do this, but if you want to connect the dots with Patrick Mahomes, you may make an argument or see a picture of potentially some slight regression. Certainly not so clutch moments. Aaron Rodgers, despite his team's lack of success in the playoffs, coming off of MVP and coming off of MVP. You look at Patrick Mahomes, the reason y'all didn't make it to the Super Bowl is because that second half you had, against the Cincinnati Bengals. Y'all remember that? No touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a passer rating of 12. I digress. Now let's go to the year before because he took him to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he didn't have a damn touchdown in the whole game. Let's go before. Well, that game wasn't his best game either in terms of 78 passer rating, much lower than his norm, and also keeping that game in the balance when you're supposed to be able to beat a Jimmy G. Finally, you did. If you look at Patrick Mahomes in totality, right now where he is, coming off the worst season of his career with the worst stretch of games and having his worst moment the last time we saw him on the football field, by the way, with Tyreek Hill. Man, he got a lot to prove this year.
But here's the other thing, though, Sel, I think that we might all be omitting is Aaron Rodgers has to prove it more urgently. Aaron Rodgers is older, and Aaron Rodgers has gotten to the promised land a much more distant time ago, being the Super Bowl. Sure. If Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes both were to struggle this year, Aaron Rodgers would be looked at like, he is done. He's over the hill. We overpaid him. We're in a dilemma. If Patrick Mahomes struggles this year, we're looking at him like, he's 26. Okay, great. He's still got 10 good years left. So Aaron Rodgers has to prove it more because he has to prove it more urgently. For Aaron Rodgers, he can never afford to have another blimp type of season. We are already looking at Aaron Rodgers waiting for him to mess up. Packers saw him have 25 touchdowns and 26 touchdowns in back-to-back years, and we're ready to replace him with Jordan Love. If the Chiefs see that with Patrick Mahomes, they'll just be like, it's all good. So the reason for me it is Aaron Rodgers is because not only does Aaron Rodgers have to prove something, but, Aaron Rodgers has to prove it every single day because of his age.
I agree with that. I agree with that. However, when I jump back over to Patrick Mahomes, and now I'm going to make it about the players. When you see a young quarterback and he's had early success, Wiley, you just mentioned a lot of his stats last year. Well, one of the things he's always had the luxury of having is those playmakers in plethora on that bench, in particular, like Tyreek Hill. When you miss that, Aaron Rodgers has had that. You mentioned that. He's had that as well. Both of these quarterbacks are going to miss their most explosive piece of their offense for the last 4, 5, 6 years. When we look at Patrick Mahomes, however, a young quarterback, and he needs to make a play, and everybody now shifts to Travis Kelce. All the defense shifts to him. Now it's all on him. Aaron Rodgers has been in those moments. He has had Davante Adams taken away, and he's had to figure it out. He's had no Davante Adams, and he's had to figure it out. We've seen him up. We've labeled him with no help, and he has still found a way to make this team serviceable and still a contender. We have not seen Patrick Mahomes from the jump of the season without or with less, and then see him figure it out and still make this team one of the most feared contenders in all of football. That is why he has more to prove, in my opinion.
Yeah, to your point, GJ, 10-1 is Aaron Rodgers' record without Davante Adams. 10-1. So obviously that's a smaller sample size than with Davante Adams. But to that point, he has balled out without Davante Adams. And more so, his passer rating goes up 9 points without Davante Adams. His yards per attempt goes up a yard without Davante Adams. His completion percentage goes up in those games because, as you know, when you're missing something, everything else has to rise up. Just like we talked about it yesterday, Acho. Hey, they say when you lose one of your major senses, the other senses have to rise up, have to be more aware. So I'm looking at this Green Bay team as at least they've been in this position enough where they know Aaron Rodgers, MVP, four-time MVP, can rise to that occasion. But then I look at Patrick Mahomes never being in this position like an Aaron Rodgers. And then when you see a young quarterback, here's the thing, Acho, because you know I fell off right in the middle of my prime, largely because of the injuries and surgeries, but also just falling off. When you have one bad season in your prime, they say, forget it, mulligan, breakfast ball, who cares? He'll rebound, and then do it again. So do it again, Patrick Mahomes, in terms of last year was a step back for you, even though you had the ultimate team success. Are we talking about the player? Are we talking about how the team accomplishes? But if he does that again, I think they're going to take notice, especially when you're paying them $450 million to take you all the way.